Hello everyone, Bashar here. We are together with a Diablo 3 build guide. So this is the weirdest build I ever saw in Diablo 3, I think in 13 years of playing, and also the strongest there is. So this build can be done in other seasons, but it shines especially in season where ethereal weapons are available, namely seasons 24, 32, and right now season 38. This is sadly not in its top form, but it's still pretty good. Just let me show you leaderboard. Let's take a look at top guy. It's this build, right? Yeah, I mean, I think he's not playing with the Archon. Let's take a look at the second guy. It's this build, right? So it's going to vary a little bit, but I think ultimately it's going to be this build that is at the top. We can, check this. Again, no Archon. No, actually. Oh, hold up. I think it's bugging out. Okay, so this guy has no Archon. Interesting. Okay, so anyway, this build, right, the Bazooka that is called, is the best build there is, but it's very weird. If you have played Diablo 3 before, right, you will still be, very much a fish out of the water when you see this build, because you have an Archon there, which is a supreme damage with a huge cooldown, but you also have the meteors and the explosive blasts. What's going on? So guys, let me tell you, this is, as I said, a very weird build. You use the Archon for the bonus stacks that are coming from the Fazula's Improbable Chain, and being able to hold on to them in, with the Swami. After you leave the Archon form, the Archon actually does nothing other than these bonuses. So, you actually waste 20 seconds of your precious time in Greater Rifts constantly. So why is it good? Because, guys, you call the meteors from the sky, right? And they are not snapshotted. What I mean by that is their damage is actually decided upon them falling. So what you do is you call the meteors from the sky, and before they come, you turn into the Archon and you get a ton of damage bonus. So the Archon does, so the meteors do an extreme amount of damage. So if you do it right, and that's a challenge, doing this right, it is a little bit of a challenge. But when you do it right, when you go into the Archon, kind of everything that you have grouped up should be dying. So, you will be delivering damage in forms of bursts rather than, consistent damage. This would be familiar to you if you have played Necromancer. They have weird builds, Army of Death, blah, blah, right? Once every 10-15 seconds, you kind of clear everything on your screen, and then you have a huge period of inaction where you are able to do nothing. You cannot hurt the tiniest and weakest of monsters. In the meanwhile, this build is not like that, right? We can dish out a little bit of damage, but so the idea is we call the meteors from the sky, we turn in the Archon form to kill everything. Then with the Archon form, we will have teleport, that's our rune, and we will teleport, and make a big group. And then when we leave the Archon, we will still have the stacks. So that means we will be able to dish out decent damage for a short duration. In that short duration, we kill those, right? And these are very much easier said than done. It's not very easy to do, but I will try to demonstrate to you as best as I can. And then you move on to the next group. And with good enough gear, that is possible. So, you can do like, 2-minute pit 150 and, greater if 150. And I'm not exaggerating, right? This is perfectly possible. Very powerful build. But as I said, very weird. Because, you have the Archon, and the Archon actually does not do anything, right? Other than enabling the extreme meteor damage. Then you will have 20 seconds in which you'll be like, yeah, you look at the star, you look at the stars, you just don't do anything in those 20 seconds. You cannot deal the least bit of damage, right? I mean, if a monster is like on 0.5% HP, you will not be able to kill it. It's a little bit funny. So what do we do? First off, the skills. With Meteor, we just don't have any, room, because we will be applying the Meteor Shower room with the map of Twilight. With Explosive Blast, we have Chain Reaction. This is how you survive. as soon as these stacks will fall off, you will immediately die, or the Templar will immediately save you, or your unstable animal will. So, you become much, much, much more squishy. And when I say much, I didn't say enough much. Take a look at this. My toughness is right now 61.65 million, right? In fights, this is going to go up to 3 billion or nearly 3 billion, right? That's how much of a difference it makes, right? I mean, every single proc, and most of it comes from this, right? 80% damage reduction. So you have to keep the explosive blasting up. So you will say, but in Archon, these are only lasting 6 seconds. In Archon, we will lose all of them. We will then survive thanks to the bonuses that come from the Archon, 150% armor and resistances. So you will be a little bit less squishy than with the explosive blast stacks. However, you still will be tanky enough to survive, most of the time. So that is how it goes. We have Black Hole Spell Steal, which decreases the enemy's damage and increases our damage. And you can use this as a matter of CC. So guys, there is actually a gap in here in our defenses. What? So you are in the Archon form, you are kicking ass, right? And then the Archon form finishes, and you will come out of the Archon form with no stacks that come from the Orb of Infinite Depth, which means your survivability will be about 10 times lower, and you will be instantly one-shotted. So the idea is, as soon as you come out of the Archon form, you black hole the enemies, so they cannot hit you, and immediately use the explosive blast, so the stacks come up, and then you'll be safe, right? We have magic weapon deflection to give us a shield. We have storm armor power of the storm to help us with the arcane power cost of meteor, and we will be getting our survival from the hollow of Karini, right? As for the passives, we have elemental exposure, evocation, dominance, and galvanizing ward. And the fifth passive, because you can get a passive from the ethereal items, is audacity. I mean, you can leave one of these out. So galvanizing ward is not possible to leave out, right? That is how we survive. Take a look at this. My HP is that much, and my shield is this much, right? If I leave galvanizing out, I will die. Dominance also helps us survive. I guess you could leave out evocation, but then the Archon cooldown will be a little bit too long in favor of audacity. Sadly, I do not have anything good on my ethereal weapon, so it's not zero, but it's also not really very good. So how about the gear? So guys, you can use. So the beauty of Legacy of Dreams is, what it says is, as long as you have no set bonuses equipped. So you are allowed to wear set pieces, because the Stupid Rings Legacy of Nightmare set actually does not allow you to wear set items at all. This does not prevent you from wearing set items. You just should not be getting a bonus. So you can use anything, any crafted shoulder, or if you have anything decent, you can use it. What we want on the shoulder is cooldown reduction, area damage, intelligence, vitality, and percentage life. Area damage being the most important one, because we will be dealing damage to enemies that in our near vicinity. So area damage just gives us damage up. Whatever it is that states 1/5 of it in damage up. So for example, guys, if a shoulder item says 20% area damage on hit, that means 4% damage up, literally. And shoulder is not a place, not a slot that you can get a lot of damage from. So that is very important. And as you can see, I don't have it. I guess what you could leave could be the intelligence or the vitality or the percentage life. Cooldown reduction, area, and then 2 of the other 3 I mentioned, right, would be the best. On Swami, the best stats would be arcane hits, arcane APOC, critical hits grant arcane power, meteor damage, socket, and critical chance. As you can see, mine again has 3 out of 4. It's not very bad. The thing that's bad about my helmet is that my Archon stacks only last for 16 seconds. That unique power can go up to 20 seconds, sadly. Yeah, that's a bit of a letdown. I do have another in which I have 20 seconds, but on that one, the meteor damage doesn't exist. So yeah, I couldn't be very sure. Obviously, the legendary gem we use will be Legacy of Dreams here, and we will be using Skirt's Necklace. And what we want on it is fire damage, critical hit damage, socket, and crit chance. So mine is again 3 out of 4, right? I have near perfect critical damage. I have perfect fire damage, but I do have intelligence instead of the crit chance. It is what it is. It's not a bad one. These are notoriously hard to get because you can't really gamble for them. They are extremely expensive. We will have Cinder Coat as our chest. Sadly, this one is not really very good. The resource cost is not the best. Intelligence, vitality, fire skills, deal additional damage, 3 sockets. Yeah, this is basically it. The intelligence is a little bit low and the cost reduction is a little bit low, but that's it. We go for Fazula's Improbable Chain, so we have Archon stacks as soon as we enter the Archon. Intelligence, vitality, armor, and percentage life are the best stats. And also you want the unique power to be as close to perfect as you can. Mine is 46, neither here nor there, right? It's a mediocre roll. This is not a bad item. Obviously, you want, as I said, armor instead of the resistance. Why? Because, guys, I'm a character that is based on intelligence, so I have already very high all res, so they are in diminishing returns. So armor gives you more survivability. When percentage life is the best, vitality is always the best. Percentage life comes after, then armor, then all resist, right? If you are playing a character that has strength or dexterity, then the order of resistance and armor will change. For the bracer, we have Ashnagar's Blood Bracer, so our potency of the shields is bigger, right? You want fire damage, intelligence, vitality, and crit chance, and the unique power is also, again, very important. If it's on the low end, it's going to be a problem. This is probably my best item. I've been very lucky with it and got it early season. So yeah. Next up, we will have Convention of Elements. So we are going to select 2 rings out of 3, right? Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac, Convention of Elements, and Hollow of Carini. 2 will be equipped and 1 will be cubed. No, your call. Sadly, my convention is bad. So the stats that you see there are not bad. What is bad is the unique power. And this is the one build that you have to time it properly. Yeah, guys, I know I have been playing Convention of Elements builds for so long, but I have been doing things randomly, right? Very rarely timing stuff properly. With this build, you have to time stuff properly, right? Because as I said, you will be doing an extreme burst of damage, then you will be unable to do anything for a long while. So that extreme burst of damage has to align with the fire damage of Convention of Elements. So this is the only build that I'm playing it properly, and I have the worst conversion possible because it varies between 150 and 200%. Yeah, would have been. So that is losing me about 20% damage. We have Blacktone's Justing Mail. These stats are perfect, however, they are always on the low end. You want intelligence, vitality, armor, and 2 sockets and fire skill damage. Sadly, my fire skill damage is 17. It can go up to 20. So I'm losing a little bit of damage there, but generally a decent item. Hollow of Carini. This is exactly what you want. A crit chance, crit damage. Well, not exactly. You want crit chance, crit damage, area damage, and socket. And I have 3 out of 4. And also the unique power on Hollow of Carini is extremely important, guys. Anything below 75% is not acceptable, right? So, let me go into calculation a little bit. Imagine this says 60%. That means you are going to take 60% less, right? And if it says 80%, you are going to take 80% less and 20 damage. So guys, imagine, let's say you and your friend have identical characters. One of you is wearing a 60% Carini and the other is wearing an 80% Carini. And everything else is fully identical, right? So when they take damage, one person will take 40 damage and the other person will take 20 damage. So, it doesn't sound like much when you think about the 20%, but the actual damage that you receive, that perception is 100% increase. Why? Because one of you took 40 damage and the other took 20 damage, right? So that's why it's very important, and it should not be anything less than 75%. And that is why generally Hollow of Karini is cubed. But I did have this one, and this still makes a difference. So for example, guys, on 76%, I take 24 damage, right? In our previous example, which means I'm taking 20% more damage than someone wearing an 80% Hollow of Karini. Yeah. Still actually pretty important. We have a Wizard Spike here with the power that is from, what's that thing called? Grand Vizier. Just take a look here. Imagine using Archon as mobility. The Grand Vizier, yes, that is correct. So you want a Wizard Spike or Oculus with the Grand Vizier power. Wizard Spike is better because they are mostly similar. For the Tal Rasha set, Oculus is better. For the Legacy of Dreams, Wizard Spike is better because you deal 100% additional damage. Eventually, with the Oculus, what you get is 25% reduced damage on their part. The unique power is also important, but this is not very easy to get. And sadly, my passive is not very good either. So guys, keep in mind, ethereal items now are not unmodifiable. They are modifiable, but for example, you can't enchant them, right? However, you can open a socket with Ramaladni's gift. You can reroll them in the cube, right? You can upgrade them into a primal with the cube. I don't want to get into it, but I have been royally screwed this season. I'm not getting any primals, right? On 1162 Paragon, no less. Anyway, I don't want to get into that too much. So on the boots, you have intelligence. What you should have on the boots is meteor damage, actually. So what you want is intelligence, armor, vitality, and meteor percentage. So as you can see, I'm lacking 1 here, but still it's a very good boot because on Nilfur the powers varies hugely, right? Very bad, 675% to 900%. So that's going to mean a lot of damage loss if it's on the lower end. So for example, guys, if you have the worst one versus the best one, it's gonna make a damage difference of like 25% or so. Keep in mind that the second part, the variable part, only works if there are 3 or fewer enemies, right? And to top it off, we have Orb of Infinite Depth. That is where almost all of our survivability comes from. We have to keep hitting enemies with Explosive Blast. It also gives us damage up as well. What we want here is area, cooldown reduction, crit chance, intelligence, and a decent damage range. This is not a bad one. I wish the crit was not 8%. Would have been very nice if the was better. And also the area damage is reverse perfect, right? So that's about it. As for the passives, we have gone over them. For the Templar, what is important? Obviously, Nemesis Bracers and Flavor of Time. You can use the Broken Crown to help you with the gems. You use Gloves of Worship for the shine duration. So why does this matter? Because if you have your altar done, when you drink your potion, you are going to get a shine effect, right? At random. And that shine effect will be boosted to 10 minutes if you are wearing this. I'm using this one to freeze the enemies, right? And also Oculus Ring is very nice. He will open an area. And if you stand in it, you are going to get damage up. That's nice. I also use Kratos Flame to get some arcane power. Not that big of a deal. The really important ones are Flavor of Time, Nemesis Bracers, and I guess the third one would be the Gloves of Worship. So time to hit the road, I guess. So this is by not very good. This is really bad for speed farming. Not very good for groups, I think, but still okay, right? If you are playing with a good group, then it is. But you will not be able to consistently put out a lot of damage. So if you have good support characters that make a nice big group, then you can destroy everything in a single Archon. But if there are no big groups, you're gonna suffer. So I could die in here. Fair warning. Let's try 136. I should be able to do this. Let's go. It's very important that we get the stacks going. or it will be immediate death. Okay. So guys, in convention of elements, the fire will come after the cold. So I will call down the meteors and go Archon form. As you can see, it was nice, but you know, by no means full clear. But I killed a lot of enemies. Take a look at it. I have 89 stacks, which means I killed a lot of enemies. Yeah. So I haven't been able to manage this, you know, constantly. So I am coming out of Archon soon. Yeah, I didn't die. That's very important because, as I said, when I come out of Archon, it's dangerous. And so right now I have the stacks, and I should be able to kill the elites while the stacks last. He did. Good. Keep in mind, if you have your altar done, you can kill the last minion for another progress orb. I should really not be doing this. If you kill all of the minions, that's going to give you another 1% from the progress orb. Oh, see? I lost the stacks and I almost died. Okay. Right now it's not going very, very good, does it? Okay. 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 Incoming cold. I am calling the... I did it nicely, but yeah, the elite survived again, sadly. So, you know, I want to aggro as many guys as I can. So I will have a lot of enemies on me when I'm coming out of the Archon form. So I should be... Okay. I'm actually managing this at least. So guys, when you come out of the Archon form, you are very vulnerable. Okay, that should be the last of these elites. And keep in mind, guys, this is for now 0 pylons, right? Very important to keep the stacks going, okay? Yeah, this time we have killed... Oh my god. I killed the champion, but I haven't killed the rare. Okay. Go back to the rare, I guess. Yeah, the power pylon. Yeah, that's sad. Should be dying very quickly. Power pylon does not mess around. So guys, coming out of the Archon is very dangerous. I am somehow managing it this time around. Keep in mind to drink your potion for no benefit. Or, you know, some benefit actually. Okay. I mean, can't really leave the rare behind. Okay. Let's hit them so the Bane of the Stricken gets stacked. Should be dying. Edge. Okay, now our beautiful power pylon is out. See if we have anything in here. Okay, this is pretty crowded. Okay, at least, you know, we cleared a little bit. So okay, we have 3 elites there in that group. Okay. Yeah. Or is it 2? Yeah, see? I died there. The Templar had to save me. I have been trying to dodge it the entire run, but... Oh god, take a look at the HP that they survive with. And obviously, I can't be at this point. I need their progress orbs. Please and thank you. So, if that accident happens again, I'm gonna die. And sadly, the limit on Templar's protection is 2 minutes rather than the classic one. Okay. Keep in mind, when 3 enemies are left, Nilfur's damage is gonna go skyrocket, so you can kill the last bit by yourself without the help from the Archon. Okay. Just leave that guy be. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Okay. The stack expired. Very important. So you can drink your potion to get shrine effects. As you can see, I have 3 shrine effects in there. Thanks to the altar. Okay. Oh, microscopic HPs. Well, I mean, maybe I can cheat with the... Yeah, I mean, this doesn't count. I'm not actually killing them. The pylon is killing them, but is what it is. Okay. So we are somewhat close. Maybe... Is that the shield? Speed, okay. I have missed out on the fire, sadly. Okay, so now I have to make a decision. Do I want to use? No need. Thanks to the conduit pylon. So now let's get ready. The fire is coming. Yeah. I guess I didn't call enough. I guess I didn't go. So guys, this damage is important. Even though it's nothing in damage, it helps us with the, Bane of the Stricken stacks. Yeah, the sad thing procced again. Yeah, killed me. Very nice. Just at the end. Yeah, I mean, not very good, but I mean, I wish I didn't die, but yeah. So that's about it. 8 minutes. Actually, that's an improvement because my personal best was 9 minutes on 135. So as you can see, this is perfectly capable of, 150. I don't want to go too much into, complaining, but, I have been royally screwed by Blizzard this season. There is something going on with my primal drops. I have gotten 1 primal the entire season. And yeah, so I cannot even afford primal upgrades. So if you had a primal weapon with the right power, for example, that's gonna make like a 75% damage difference for me. If it also has a useful unique, which is like 50% of the time, and yeah, if I just keep pushing, because as you can see, right, I can definitely push 140 now if I want, and the weapon change is going to give me the rest, but as I said, I just can't, not getting primals. So that's about the build. So guys, I didn't go for the last 2 legendary gems. One of them is Bane of Trap, which is a huge classic, as you know. Every single solo build uses. It's the best gem in the game, bar none, right, for damaging characters. So, and the third one is going to be the Bane of the Stricken. That's why I was hitting enemies with Archon, even though I was doing no damage. Why? Because every single time I damage them, they take 2.16% more damage from my attacks, and that keeps stacking, right? That is how you kill the enemies that you are not able to damage, right? So for example, guys, this build does not have the damage to kill the boss, right? Because we are a trash killer and not a boss killer, but the Bane of the Stricken helps us do that, and also it helps against trash as well, because we are constantly hitting them, so the number keeps going up and up. Yeah, as I said, this is the best build there is. you put the diamond in your helmet, you put topaz in your armor, and you put an emerald in your weapon. Yeah, and I have Kaldezan on all of my items. Yeah, that is about it. So guys, I want to do some things. I want to explain to you something, right? Maybe I should do this in a separate video, but I want to do it here. So if I didn't have the fire skills here, right? People would say I would be losing 20% damage. And I would also sometimes say that, but that's just, ease of speech. It's not actual 20% damage. You would lose 20% damage if you didn't have any fire damage. Because in Diablo 3, guys, everything is fully consistent and logical, right? It's beautiful, right? I love it. Everything is multiplicative. Everything that is similar gets added up, and that gets multiplied with the other stuff. So, for example, you have meteor damage up from Nilfus boss, right? 600% damage up always applies. But if you are hitting 3 or fewer enemies, then you get another 862% damage up, right? You get 362% damage up from the Grand Vizier, right? You get Smoldering Embers gives 50% damage up, that stacks twice, right? These all get multiplied, right? With the weapon damage and so on. And finally, you have the fire damage. So how much fire damage do I have? I have 20% from my amulet. I have 19% from my braces. I have another 19% from my chest, and I have 17% from my legs. How much is this? I believe it's 75%, 20, 39, 58, 75. So guys, when I lose the 20% from amulet, I don't lose 20% damage, but what I lose is, let me just show it you on the calculator. Oh, 13%. Yeah, this is very important to know because these are similar bonuses. It's the same bonus, so they get added up, right? And because we have, so most builds will have it on the amulet and on the bracer, and it becomes more valuable. Why? Because you can get up to 40% only, right? But with this build, we can get up to 80%, and the losing of 20% is not that big a deal. This could even be comparable with the crit. And, of course, crit is something else because, crit not only adds damage, but it also gets your arcane power on critical working as well, which we have on the Swami. So it's going to add arcane power too. That is very important for the Talraja variant of the Meteor build because, you use Star Pack there for the Meteor rune, and it drains all of your arcane power and deals damage accordingly. So the amount of arcane power you had at the time of casting is very important. In here, we just have to have enough, and yeah, we will have enough because we have a lot of cost reduction here, as you can see, and we have some more cost reduction from Paragon, etc. So one last word, guys. The Paragon, obvious offense, defense, and utility, we do all. But in Paragon, in core, we have something a little bit different than what you'd expect. So you want to hit a total of 25% movement speed with what you have equipped. And from the Paragon, I have none, so I have gone for the whole 25 of it. But for example, if I had 12% movement speed on my Nilfurs, I would need to get 13% from here. Anything extra is a waste. And as you can see, this is extremely rare, I know, but we have vitality here in our Paragon. Why? Because, guys, we are equipping all these ancient items and we go for damage very hard. We just don't have enough vitality to survive. And vitality helps us twofold. I mean, first of all, you have a larger health pool that is, harder to deplete. But more importantly, guys, we have skirts, which means as long as we are on damage, we are going to deal literal double damage. But if that shield is broken, we lose that bonus. So we don't want the shield to be broken, right? So what you do is you go for Galvanizing Ward, that gives you a shield. You go for Dominance, that gives you a shield as well. And you go for Magic Weapon Deflection, that gives you a shield as well. But if you take a look at it, everything is giving us a shield in the form of our max HP, right? So if our max HP is low, we are going to get a small shield and it will be penetrated. But take a look at this. I have 1 million HP approximately, and I have 1.2 million shield, right? And with dominance, when I kill enemies, I get more. And if that isn't breached, that the galvanizing ward keeps refreshing the 60% barrier. And as you saw during the entirety of that 136 run, it was breached a few times. The general idea for it being breached is, as you come out of the Archon, you will not have the explosive blast stacks. Take a look at this, right? I couldn't show it to you mid-fight, but it goes up to like 3 billion, right? Because we gain 80% damage reduction from Orb of Infinite Depth, and there are some other procs. We get 5 stacks from Stone Gauntlets. And so if you are wondering how we get away from this, is that you get the crowd control immunity from the altar. That's why we don't slow down at all. As I said, it all adds up to approximately 3 billion toughness. So this character will look like they have not a lot of toughness in town. However, in combat, it's actually very high. As you saw, I was able to stand in the middle of the enemies and tank them, especially if you are killing them and if you are getting dominance stacks. So this is the best build. It's a little bit weird to play. I hope I was able to demonstrate it for you. The idea is you wait for the convention of elements to turn cold, right? Because fire comes after cold. So when it's cold, you keep raining meteors, all the while also continuously blasting explosive blasts, right? You rain meteors, and as soon as it turns to fire, you pop the Archon, and everything should be dying. You saw that wasn't the case for me, but at least, it kills some and you have more stacks. Why does it matter to have more stacks if you are not dealing damage in the Archon form? Thanks to the Swami, it matters because you will be able to hold on to your stacks for a little while longer, and every single stack gives you 6% damage up. Imagine coming out of the Archon with, let's say, 100 stacks. That's 600% damage up. Yeah. So the Archon is just the enabler and the mobility skill and does nothing by itself. Why do we have Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac? So we can go into the Archon form more consistently. And as you saw, even with all my cooldown reduction, right? And I have a lot of cooldown reduction. Let's take a look at it here. Almost 60%. That will mean my Archon will have a cooldown of about 48 seconds. And it has a duration of 20 seconds. So there will be a 28-second downtime, right? Which is unacceptable, of course. That's why we use the Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac. And still, it cannot really bring it back up perfectly. Why? Because the thing is, guys, Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac says you will lower a cooldown by 1 second at random. It doesn't say which cooldown it's going to reduce. So technically, Explosive Blast has a cooldown and Black Hole has a cooldown. So when you are casting those, the Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac's procs some of it will be wasted, right? Yeah. So this is both Explosive Blast and Meteor are valid for this. Black Hole also. I didn't know. I wasn't very sure if Black Hole spent Arcane Power as well. So Black Hole, Explosive Blast, and Meteor, they all work for this, right? And they will, reduce the cooldowns. But as you saw, there was a bit of a downtime. So I probably want cooldown reduction on this item as well. Maybe, I'm in a okay spot. So that's about it for the build, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask and I will try to answer. And I'll see you on stream. Bye-bye.